First, they thought Andrew Tate was going to rescue them from the avalanche of apostasy. Let's check on Andrew Tate. Then they thought Sneeko was going to rescue them from the avalanche of apostasy. Let's check on Sneeko. Now they think Lily J is going to rescue them from the avalanche of apostasy. Let's check on Lily J. And how is she going to rescue them? By recycling the same terrible arguments that have been debunked so thoroughly, so frequently, even the Dawah guys stopped using them. Take the argument from scientific miracles. Does the Quran contain miraculous scientific facts that couldn't have been known during the time of Muhammad and are only being confirmed by scientists today? That was the claim for decades, but we went through all the ridiculous lies and exposed them until the Dawagandists finally admitted defeat.
I mentioned that the scientific miracles in the Quran got debunked. I'll repeat it again, very carefully. The scientific miracles argument in the Quran got debunked. Yeah? I hope my tajweed was on point. Listen, it got debunked. And you know why many people in the Dawah, YouTubers, my colleagues, like brothers that I work with, didn't do a video? Why did you say that? Because they know it as well. The argument of scientific miracles is debunked. It is debunked. It's to hell with science. The scientific argument, the scientific miracles in the Quran is debunked. It is debunked, and we don't need it.
You've never heard me say this before, and you'll probably never hear me say it again, unless it's about this topic. But listen to Ali Dawah. The argument from scientific miracles has been debunked.
The scientific miracles argument in the Quran got debunked.
Listen to the Dawagandists, who were already humiliated because of this argument. If you don't, then what's about to happen in this video is going to keep happening over and over and over again. But Lily J is getting paid too much to care, so here we go.
Did you know the Quran revealed a scientific miracle about the ocean over 1400 years ago? Something that science only just discovered recently?
Let me guess. The two seas and the barrier between them that keeps fresh water from mixing with salt water, which isn't even true.
In the Quran, chapter 25:53, it says, "And it is he who released two seas, one fresh and sweet, one salty and bitter, and placed between them a barrier that cannot be crossed."
So, two seas, one fresh and sweet, like me, and one salty and bitter, like the lies Lily J is about to tell. And there's a barrier between them that cannot be crossed. That's what she said, right?
It says, "And it is he who released two seas, one fresh and sweet, one salty and bitter, and placed between them a barrier that cannot be crossed."
Let's read the verse. "And he it is who hath let loose the two seas, the one sweet, fresh, and the other salt, bitter, and hath put an interspace between them, and a barrier that cannot be passed." So there are two seas. Which two seas? What are the names of these two seas? One of them is sweet and fresh, the other is salty and bitter, and there's a barrier between them that cannot be passed.
You shall not pass!
Tell us about this amazing scientific fact, Miss Truthful.
But here's the amazing part. Scientists only just discovered that when fresh and salt water meet, they don't mix.
Fresh water and salt water don't mix?
Scientists only just discovered that when fresh and salt water meet, they don't mix. They don't mix. They don't mix. They don't mix.
Notice that Lily J didn't bother to ask AI about this one. Why? Because she couldn't get it to lie about this. Let me ask Grok. Do fresh water and salt water mix? Grok's response: fresh water and salt water do mix when they meet, such as at river mouths or estuaries, forming brackish water with intermediate salinity. The mixing depends on factors like water flow, tides, and density differences. Salt water is denser and tends to sink below fresh water. Over time, diffusion and turbulence blend them, but distinct layers can persist in some conditions, like in estuaries with strong river flow or in certain ocean currents. That's strange. I thought scientists just discovered that fresh water and salt water don't mix.
They don't mix. There's an invisible barrier between them that keeps them separate called halocline, which forms between them due to differences in chemical composition, density, and temperature.
The only part she's right about is that halocline has something to do with density and temperature. When fresh water from a river enters the ocean, the salt water, like Lily J, is more dense. So the less dense fresh water will stay on top for a bit. But there's no barrier that cannot be passed, as the Quran says. It just takes a while for the water to mix.
This would be impossible for someone without modern technology to know. But the Quran describes it perfectly.
The Quran describes halocline perfectly? Let's read the verse one more time. And he it is who hath let loose the two seas, the one sweet, fresh, and the other salt, bitter, and hath put an interspace between them, and a barrier that cannot be passed. A barrier that cannot be passed isn't halocline at all.
Is this proof that the Quran is the word of God? What do you guys think?
Is this the proof that the Quran is the word of God? I have to confess, I would be impressed if the Quran accurately described haloclines. But is that even what the Quran is talking about? Let's find out after a brief word from this video's sponsor. Lily J thinks that fresh water and salt water don't mix. But you know what does mix? Your family and some hand-picked treasures from the places where Jesus walked. Even if you can't make it to the land of the Bible, you can still get amazing items from Jerusalem and Nazareth and Bethlehem and other locations delivered to your door. I'm talking about getting an Artza box. Every Artza box connects you with the Bible and is filled with items that will bless your home. And by signing up, you'll be supporting the local Christian and Jewish families and businesses and charities that create them. You get candles, Israeli spice mixes, olive wood carvings, mosaic art, decorations, cosmetics, candy, games, all kinds of things. Artza boxes are fun to open with your family, and they make great gifts. There's a new box every season, 4 new boxes every year. So join Artza and bring the Holy Land into your home, one season at a time. The link is in the description. Use the promo code DIZZLE to get a discount and to let them know who sent you. Now, back to Lily J and the miracle of the halocline. Here's what Surah 25, verse 53 means according to actual Muslim scholars. Quran quotes are in parentheses, the rest is the commentary of Ibn Kathir. And it is he who has let free the two seas. This is palatable and sweet, and that is salty and bitter, means he has created the two kinds of water, sweet and salty. The sweet water is like that in rivers, springs, and wells, which is fresh, sweet, palatable water. This was the view of Ibn Jurayj and of Ibn Jarir, and this is the meaning without a doubt. For nowhere in creation is there a sea which is fresh and sweet. Notice what he just said. When the Quran says two seas, it must mean two kinds of water, because nowhere in creation is there a sea which is fresh and sweet. So, there aren't two seas. Good to know. Allah has told us about reality so that His servants may realize His blessings to them and give thanks to Him. The sweet water is that which flows amidst people. Allah has portioned it out among His creatures according to their needs, rivers and springs in every land, according to what they need for themselves and their lands. And that is salty and bitter, meaning that it is salty, bitter, and not easy to swallow. Then he talks about various seas, not very important. Let's get to the miracle. And He has set a barrier and a complete partition between them, meaning between the sweet water and the salt water. A barrier means a partition, which is dry land, which is dry land, which is dry land. The barrier isn't the halocline. The barrier between fresh water and salt water is dry land. And a complete partition means a barrier to prevent one of them from reaching the other. So, what is the Quran saying according to actual Muslim scholars? It's saying that there's fresh water over here and salt water over there and land in between. The land is what keeps the two kinds of water separate. That's true enough, but is it amazing scientific knowledge that couldn't have been known in the 7th century?
Is this proof that the Quran is the word of God? What do you guys think?
I'm going to have to go with no. The Quran says there are 2 seas. That's wrong, so it has to be reinterpreted. Even with the reinterpretation, the Quran is simply saying that there's land between fresh water and salt water, which keeps them separate, and I'm pretty sure people knew that in 7th century Arabia. So, better luck next time, Lily J. I hope they're paying you well to lie to people, but you should have listened to Ali Dawah.
The scientific miracles argument in the Quran got debunked.
Don't get too salty now.